Thanks also for your work with the Colleen Giblin Foundation, and most of all, thanks for your warm friendship. When I found out that Joe was being honored as a humanitarian, I thought, really? Wow, that's such a big word. I was thinking, well, you think about world-renowned philanthropists like Bill Gates, maybe Bono. But then I started to think about everything that Joe does. And while those names come to mind, what about someone who serves their community, someone who's concerned not with just him or herself, but thinks about the greater good of everyone and uses their power, their influence, and their connections to help others. Fortunately for me, my family, friends, and so many others, my husband Joe is that person. Of course, Joe's a great husband, a wonderful dad to our children, Alex, Stephanie, and Frankie, and also a wonderful son, brother, brother-in-law, son-in-law, etc. We strive to do our best as parents. And like many people, Joe tries to help anyone that he's in a position to help. What makes Joe special is that he doesn't hesitate to reach out through his remarkable network of colleagues, business acquaintances, and friends that he's cultivated over the years. These people who usually will take a minute to listen, and very often the result is a job interview for a laid-off friend, maybe a business introduction for someone who's running low on leads. Joe's efforts to lend a hand don't stop with the business community. Recently, Joe and I were involved in the St. Jude's Children's Hospital annual gala event, and over the last 3 years, Joe's been instrumental in helping raise money for that annual event. And that amount raised has been well over $1 million. And Joe's special talent would be calling anyone who knew who might provide a special auction item, something that could bring in the big bucks at the live auction. Back when Superstorm Sandy hit our area, Joe was learned from a friend from Staten Island that people on the shores of the island were really desperate for help. He and our oldest son, Alex, went to work for days, tearing out sheetrock from flooded basements, carting away debris, perhaps more importantly, listening to frightened storm victims who therapeutically talked about what they had been through. Joe and Alex both returned home on those days with a sense of gratitude that we had been spared the worst of the storm's ravages. Additionally, Joe's an associate of a green energy company called Recipient. At its inception, the company declared a mission called 7 Continents in 7 Years. This would be to reach out and help people all over the world. In its first year, the fledgling company rewarded its top associates, including Joe and myself, with a trip to Brazil. The trip invited us to travel to the Amazon to learn more about the most vital ecosystem on our planet and plant trees in a deforested area. Cruising down the Amazon was quite the adventure and a very rewarding experience. We grew to understand why the local people were burning the rainforest. They were trying to make a living. They were using the slash and burn method. However, in the Amazon, the practice had become too widespread and it created big environmental problems. What the Amazon needed was reforestation, and Joe, myself, along with other birding associates, were fortunate enough to be part of that effort. Not everyone is blessed with Joe's network of friends, supportive family, and plain old good fortune. They say, to whom much is given, much is expected. Joe, I know that this is only the beginning and that you will continue to be a humanitarian every chance you get. Before Joe comes up to speak, I'd like to introduce someone that Joe and I are lucky to call our good friend, John Presto, and he will talk more about humanitarian.
And Ray said it all. I have nothing to say about Joe. Once he lent me $5 in the 3rd grade. That's about it. So. But quite honestly, it's a unique position for me to be in, asked this evening to present Joe to this wonderful audience on such a great night. Joe and I met over 20 years ago. I actually sang the Ave Maria at Joe and Anne Marie's wedding. I guess it was 21 years ago. Pretty crazy that I subsequently sang at your entire family's weddings over the next decade. So, Joe turned me on to just an incredible friendship, and that's really eye-opening for anyone to be around someone who's more gregarious than me. We affectionately call him Joey O. because if you're not Italian, you don't know how to say Occhiogrosso. So he's known affectionately as Joey O in our community. In our business venture that we're both involved in, it's changed my life. 4 years ago I got involved and was able to travel the world, part of a 7-continent sustainability initiative. We went to Africa together in 2012 to visit Ghana, and it was the poorest place I've ever been to in my life. And you hear all these stories about levels of poverty, but when you're there and you see a society, a culture of people that literally have nothing, no shoes on their feet, no clean water, no electricity. So we went there and we brought solar power to 3 villages. We helped donate a library, and Jill led the way. And we were involved in actually a playground project that installs little merry-go-rounds that creates, it's a generator that creates electricity to power up 40 lanterns so they could read at night. It's amazing. Last year we were in Indonesia, and we traveled across the other side of the world to bring clean water to a village that hasn't had clean water in over a month. We did a remote solar project and actually did a planting project where we planted 1,000 trees, part of our sustainability initiative. So just this gentleman has done so much for me in my life. Blessed to call him my friend, to really watch him become a mentor to so many people. I just can't believe how selfless he is. He has a training call that we do twice a week called The Cup of Joe. It's in the morning, it's kind of cool. And I love to start my week listening to my buddy school so many people and open his heart and open his world. And just a tremendous, tremendous friend. And he's the brother I never had. Please put your hands together for Joseph. Occhiogrosso.
Thank you. Well, since I've had 2 introductions, I'll keep this shorter. But I just want to give you a quick idea how I ended up here tonight, and it was pretty easy actually, because I've been bugging Bart for the last 3 years to share his Super Bowl ticket with me. Once I found out he was on the welcoming committee, I knew he would have great tickets and a great suite, and I said, "Is there any chance we could talk Michelle into letting me go?" And he said no. And I said, okay, well, you know, I figured I'll keep trying, and then I figured I'll get tickets some other way. And he goes, wait a minute, we might be able to work out a deal here, a little quid pro quo. And he said, well, if I can give you Michelle's ticket, if you would agree to be honored by the Colleen Giblin Foundation. I was like, that's a deal. Yes, I'll take it. So that was easy, and thank you again, Michelle. So here was a ticket that was literally priceless. It was, you know, that $5,000 ticket, $10,000. We had access to all this great stuff. I was sitting with Governor Whitman. I mean, it was an amazing thing. And I get to do this. So thank you, Bart, for that. And again, the Colleen Giblin Foundation, you know, I raise a lot of money for St. Jude's Hospital. I'm sure everyone in this room has heard St. Jude's Hospital. It pops up on your own websites and so forth. But I got to give you guys credit, you know, starting from scratch 29 years ago, the Colleen Giblin Foundation, and to still be ticking 29 years later. That's hard. That's hard because we're all getting pulled for money and time and so forth. So this Colleen Giblin, you know, this lovely girl that passed years ago, I mean, most people haven't heard about that. So the fact that there's this many people in a room, it's a credit to you guys compared to St. Jude's, which, you know, has a brand name. So I'm honored to be here tonight for that. And the other thing I want to talk about real quickly was just, you know, the whole thing about being a philanthropist or a humanitarian. And, you know, it never really dawned on me until about 4 or 5 years ago about giving back. And, you know, whether it's financially or with your time. You know, I'm a big believer in now of setting a good example for my children, for my colleagues, for my friends, of donating, you know, time. If you don't have the money to write a check, then, you know, can you kill a few hours on a Saturday afternoon? And, you know, and as much as I love coaching baseball in my, you know, upper middle class town, you know, I think I get a lot more reward, you know, doing stuff like the Sandy Relief or you know, being at a food bank. And so what I'm trying to do is basically lead by example and show people, you know, if I can tell a friend, hey, you know, do you guys want to do something tomorrow afternoon? And I say, no, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually going to a food bank, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. I think that trickles down. And we don't have enough of that in this society. I mean, actually, I'm talking to the wrong people. Obviously, you guys do. But please, again, lead by example. When you go home tomorrow and for the rest of the year to the next foundation, you know, let them know where you were tonight. Let them know where you were and why you were here. And that's how we could all become a better society, is by letting people know that, you know, it's okay to write a check once in a while. And if you can, do something. Do something you can to volunteer, a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there, and I think the world would be a better place for that. So thank you again.